Well, hello and welcome to Love My Body, Love Myself. I am your host, Alicia Couri, and today's show, since it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, it is actually the last day, last week, sorry, it's the last week in Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I wanted to bring you this episode from someone who has recently gone through treatment and she wanted to share her story with anyone who has been recently diagnosed or is going through that process themselves. She wanted to share her story, the things that she wished she knew when she found out all about this. And this month, if you've missed any of the episodes, please go back and check, because we did one on thermography, which is so important. We did one on women's health, and just check out the previous episodes, because around this month and the things that we shared, the information that was shared, it was vital information. So go back and check it out. But today I'm going to talk to Jenn Hines. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Hello again, and welcome back to Love My Body, Love Myself. This is a show that you should share with your friends and bring someone in to watch with you. And so I invite you to do that. So I want to welcome all the viewers on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. If you are on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'm so thankful that you joined us tonight. If you're watching on LinkedIn, thank you so much for sticking around this evening after work to check us out. And if you're on Twitch, hi, we're also streaming on Twitch. If you would go and be so kind to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, if you like this content, check out more of our videos and give that a like, give that a thumbs up. We encourage comments as well. If you comment while you're live here on the show, I will share your thoughts and your comments on screen and also interact and engage with you. So if you are here live, make sure to leave us a comment. And if this content is valuable to you, if you find value in it, also please share your comments and also share it with someone who you believe will benefit from the information that we are producing for you today. To connect with me on all social media platforms, please go to alicia360.com. That's how you can find me, and you can connect with me everywhere that you like. This show is sponsored by Alicia Couri Inc. and produced by Red Carpet CEO, and we'll hear a little bit more about that later on in the show. So I want you to also, if you're on Facebook, if you're watching, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on YouTube, wherever you're watching, please join our Facebook group, because we have a goal, we have a mission of touching 100,000 women this year with the content that we're going to provide for Love My Body, Love Myself. So you can go on over, join the community on Facebook. We're going to have some things happening pretty soon. We're going to be rolling out some stuff. So go on over to facebook.com/groups/LMBLM. Love My Body, Love Myself. So with all of that said, I want to go ahead and share the interview I did with Jenn Hines. So this is me now kicking it over to me. Well, thank you, Alicia, for that amazing introduction. And I have the guest with me today is Jennifer Hines, and we're going to talk about her journey, her breast cancer survivor journey. She is an amazing woman, and I've always wanted to meet her, and I got a chance to meet her in person recently. So let me tell you a little bit about Jenn. So Jenn was diagnosed in 2018, and so she's a 2-year breast cancer survivor. She wants to share her experiences, what she's learned, what she wished someone had told her and talked to her about before, during, and after care. So I want to welcome to the show Jenn Hines. Hey, Jenn.
Thank you. Hi. I
So
thought,
this,
yeah, I look forward to this.
I know we had a brief conversation about this a couple weeks ago, and I know I wanted to have you on the show. I mean, we talked about other business stuff too, but I wanted
Right.
to have you on the show for Breast Cancer Awareness Month because you are in the fight. Recently, been went through the whole process, and you wanted to
Right.
share the things that you wish you had known, things you wish people had told you before you went through all of this. So you were
Right.
diagnosed in 2018. So how did
I
that process happen?
I hadn't been feeling well all of 2018 and
Mhm.
had been going to doctors and struggling and not getting any answers. It's not like it showed up in my blood tests or anything like that. And then I found a lump, and
Mm.
I went into I was due for my regular mammogram. So here's tip number one: is if you feel a lump, you need to go to your primary care doctor first and have them order a diagnostic mammogram.
Yeah,
You can't just show up and if you already know there's a lump there, you have to get the correct order from your
prescription,
doctor.
right? The correct prescription. That's right.
So I had gone in for just a regular mammogram. I had mentioned the lump. They sent me right back out the door, said, go to your doctor.
Hmm.
Went to my doctor so she could, say, okay, yes, you need to go for a diagnostic mammogram. Sent me back to have the mammogram. Then you go through an ultrasound and
Yeah. And
biopsy.
things don't
And
work that fast. It's like not like you can call your doctor and say, send me a prescription. Oh no, you got to come in, we got to examine you, and then we got to write you
right.
the prescription. It like takes weeks to go through
Yeah.
all of
And
this.
and while you're going through all the waiting and the time, you are thinking about breast cancer.
Mm.
So, you know, knowing enough about yourself and how you need to gather information about what's coming up, get your list of questions ahead of time, write them down, because in the moment you may not be able to think of them. If you feel more
Hmm.
comfortable of having somebody else in the room, you need to do that so
And with
that
COVID, you have to check, you know, if they'll even
if it's
allow someone
allowed.
else in the room.
Well, and I was diagnosed. So I went in for the mammogram end of November 2018, had the biopsy beginning of December, and knew for sure. But then my husband and I opted not to tell my family,
Hmm.
um, or even our kids until after.
I wanted to break in just for a second because that tip that she shared is so vital. And for those of you who are watching live and seeing, say, yeah, I'm in pink today, I'm not in red because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So, two things. One is if you feel anything unusual, if you feel something strange, you have to go to your primary care physician first, because if you try to go get a mammogram, try to go get an ultrasound, try to do anything else, they'll send you right back out. So make sure you do that. And then the next thing I wanted to say is this was previously recorded. So sometimes the video lags a little bit. Just stick with it. Don't go anywhere. Just stick with it because you'll continue to hear it. The video part of it might go a little wonky from time to time, but the audio continues to be consistent. So stick with it. Don't go anywhere. All right. I'm going to bring her back.
Christmas, because I did not want it to be the cancer Christmas
Mm-hmm.
where
Yeah.
everybody's is sad for me. Or,
Right.
so we waited till after Christmas to tell my family. So we spent 2 weeks just sitting in it alone,
Mm.
just the two of us. And my cancer was stage 3, very aggressive
Mm.
cancer. We had genetic testing done on the cancer itself and for me. I have no BRCA for
Right.
cancer, but my cancer was highly aggressive and
Mm.
dense. So that alone was a little nerve wracking. Um, but how you get information, then how you decide treatment, it's long. It was probably a good 45-day process
Mm-hmm.
before we had a plan. And there's so many options. There's the holistic options. There's surgery first, there's chemo first.
And I want people to understand that there are options, even if they tell you it's aggressive. Um, Talk to your doctor about what options you have,
Right. And you can get
because
more than
it's
one.
overwhelming.
Yeah,
It's
you can
overwhelming.
talk to more than one doctor. It didn't show up overnight. It's not, mine was, if I would have put it off any longer, if I hadn't gotten checked,
Mm-hmm.
it could have gone a whole different way for me.
Mm-hmm.
I did opt for chemo,
Mm-hmm.
and I had chemo, then surgery, then radiation.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Now, did you have a lumpectomy, or was it too big? Was it the area
I
too?
I was lucky. The chemo really took out majority of the cancer, so I was able to have a lumpectomy and not a mastectomy.
Mm.
I was very fortunate.
Yeah. And you
In
had
that regard.
radiation treatment as well?
I had 16 weeks of chemo, two different
Mm.
kinds of chemo, and um, my hair fell out within 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So this is 2-year-old hair.
Well, that's great. Look how your
yeah.
hair grew after 2 years. What?
Yeah. Well, it also helped that I didn't get a haircut during COVID. So, there's no trimming involved here.
Yeah.
But you have to listen to your body and what your body needs that whole time.
Yeah.
If you need to rest, you rest. If you are hungry, you eat. Don't let anybody tell you what you should or should not do. You've got to trust how you are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's more important to drink water and stay hydrated and rest and get a little bit of protein. But you're not going to operate the same way as you did before. So
your energy levels, especially.
Yeah, your energy level is low. Everybody was very generous and kind. But their favorite question was to say, "What can I do for you?" And
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, "I have no idea. I've never done this before,
mm-hmm.
and I need rest." And we were also, my daughter was graduating high school at the time. There was a lot of other things on our plates, and I could not really participate because I just didn't have that energy. And to be kind and to myself and not pick up the guilt of not being able to be there for everybody else.
Right.
I just had to let that go.
I think that's one of the hardest things for women, is that guilt of not being there, because as mom, we're supposed to.
Right.
We're just supposed to be there. And so taking the time to care for yourself when your child needs you is one of the hardest things to be able to separate, to do that.
Right. Well, and being able to let other people go take care of the things.
Yeah.
It may not be the way you would do them, but that's not your job right now. Your job is going to be taking care of yourself.
100% focus on you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's what I did. 2019, it was all about taking care of myself. And the first 6 months was chemo. Then I had surgery in July, and then I had 21 just as a proactive measure, is 21 radiation treatments.
Mm-hmm.
But then we got, after that, I was feeling better. I mean, from the difference between how I felt before I was diagnosed with cancer to how I felt after.
Mm-hmm.
So much better. I felt like I was more myself again.
Can I ask you, before you go on, can I ask you the radiation treatment? Well, first of all, let's go back to the chemo treatment. So you opted to do chemo before surgery. and that shrink the tumors. How was that experience for you, aside from losing your hair? Were you very sick through chemo? You know,
I was
everybody
not,
has
but
different. Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be different for everybody. The first, but you're putting a poison in your body to kill the cancer. So um, the first rounds of treatment, that was what took my hair out. I would,
Mm-hmm.
and that was probably the hardest. And when it started to fall out, I asked my husband to just
Shave it off. Mm-hmm.
shave it off, and that was probably the hardest thing I have ever asked him to do,
Mm.
was for him to do that for me. Um, but he did it, and and then we got through it. I even did a photo shoot with my bald head.
Bald head. Mm.
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't worried about it. Wasn't good with wearing head coverings because my head got too hot. So I mean, only if it was cold outside was I wearing them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mind not having hair. I wasn't defined by it. So
Mm-hmm. That's one thing, a lot of people have. That's a major challenge to
right.
overcome, is the loss of hair. And
Right. Well, and they have the cold caps now, which seem to make a difference for some people.
mm-hmm.
I kind of figured I might as well let it all come out,
Yeah.
and then and it would grow back. It grew back curly, which
Yeah.
was in the photo that you have. That's probably about 6 to 8 months
After when it
Yeah,
started
maybe
growing.
9. Yeah.
So I'm going to pause that for a second because she talked about the cold caps. And so if you're not familiar and you're not aware, they have these caps now that you can wear before, during, and after your chemo treatments that cool your head and cool the follicles so that it kind of tries to keep the follicle intact. That's what I checked out. It keeps the follicles intact, so that the chemo doesn't penetrate and get through it. That's my understanding of the cold caps. So you can wear those before, during, and just a few hours after you have your chemo treatments to kind of save your hair from falling out. And some have reported that it's been successful for them not losing their hair, and so that's what Jenn is talking about with the cool caps. So if you want to check that out, you can just Google it and see. All right, so that's another thing she mentioned there, and I'm going to go back and hit
Came back in really curly. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. This is totally weird. It came back in darker and curly.
And then the radiation treatments, how was that experience? Did you go in? How long did the radiation, when you went
It
in for
was
the appointment?
well, to go back on the chemo,
Mm-hmm.
there was 2 different chemos, and the first one was pretty harsh. I wasn't sick with any of them. The second one was a plant-based chemo that came from a plant from the Amazon, and they give you Benadryl before each one, a liquid Benadryl. So I would fall asleep
Mm-hmm.
within 15 minutes of getting the chemo treatment, and I'd wake up with whoever my ride was for the day
Oh wow.
to come get me. So that was we had some fun with that. And then my sister picked me up on my very last chemo, and she wore a giant pig head in the
So you
room.
woke up,
So when I woke up, yeah.
you're like, what
So I
on
woke up
earth is
laughing.
this?
Yeah. I woke up laughing. It was
That's
awesome.
funny.
So
And
you have to have a sense of humor.
oh yeah, for
Whatever
sure. You can't
keep a
lose your
sense of
sense of humor going through that. That really helps sustain you a lot through a lot when you can laugh. And you can,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's kind of a hallmark of my family, is
nice.
if you can't laugh at it, then what's the point?
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and
Sure.
talk a little bit more about your journey. And we're going
Yeah.
to talk about the radiation and everything. So stay right here. We'll be right back. The Love My Body, Love Myself show is sponsored by Alicia Couri Inc. and produced by Red Carpet CEO. Alicia Couri Inc. is a boutique consulting firm that specializes in developing audaciously proactive leaders and teams using brain science and people data to get results. For more information, you can visit our website, aliciacouri.com. The show is produced by Red Carpet CEO. If you would like a copy of Age with Audacious Confidence, please go to our link tree, which is linktr.ee/acoury, and look for Age with Audacious Confidence. So let's go on and get back to the show. So before we get back to the interview, I want to show the pig picture. So she sent me the photo. This is her sister with the pig head, and she was wearing the shark head the last day of chemo. So how fun is that? So you can still enjoy life and do things a little bit different, a little bit quirky, and have fun with it. So I just wanted to share that. So this is Love My Body, Love Myself. I'm your host, Alicia Couri, and I'm going to go back to the recording. So this is pre-recorded, but don't forget, if you want to leave a comment, if you want to share, go ahead and leave a comment and share, and I'll add your comment to the stream. So let's get back to me and Jenn. So we're back with Jenn Hines. If you missed any of the episode, you can go back and watch it from the beginning. But we're talking about her survival story, her breast cancer survival story. She was diagnosed in 2018, and she elected to have chemotherapy, a lumpectomy, and radiation. So when we left off, Jenn, we were talking about going to talk about your radiation journey,
Right.
And how, like how long.
Yeah, it was every day for 21 days in a row. So I would go down every day. It's a little weird. I mean, you go in and you're uncovered with whoever happens to be the
technician
that day, mine was very targeted. So they were making it really laser focused on the area. If it's too wide, sometimes you can get burns. You have to take care of your skin. But I think the wider it is, the more you have issues. Mine was very targeted, and then I would do be very careful of how I treated my skin. That's the most important thing. But this is the part that I really like. I got through. I went kind of the traditional route. There's lots of options, but you have to be your own advocate. And the other part I advocated for was afterwards they wanted me to take a anti-hormonal drug because my cancer was so heavy estrogen.
Right. That's what I was going to ask you afterwards about the hormones, if they were able to tackle the estrogen.
I had hormone issues ever since I had my second child. So I had 18 years of battling what's going on with stuff. And they said that, well, there could be a chance that I could have uterine cancer or ovarian cancer. And I said, no, I am done. So I had them, when they did the lumpectomy, I got a full hysterectomy at the same time. And I just said, no, we're not. Just shut it down. If it's a matter of my body producing the wrong hormones, I'm done. I don't have time for this anymore. So that was where I quit.
That's quite a drastic
they
decision.
did both surgeries at the same time. So I was in surgery for 12 hours and home that night after a lumpectomy and hysterectomy.
Yeah. Wow. So you got your ovaries, everything clean sweep?
Yep,
Everything
all
taken
done.
out.
But then I
Uh,
opted not to go on the medication. I tried the medication for about a month, and it was so debilitating to my quality of life
hmm.
that I said no. I'm
What
not gonna.
in what way? Like,
Um, I was more depressed.
mm,
Everything just kind of felt like I was
were you irritated and depressed and just
that, and my body felt wrong.
mm,
Like after surgery, I felt fabulous, and then I took that medication for about a month, and then I said no, I'm not.
mm.
It, if because they wanted me to be on it for 5 years.
Yeah, they want you to be on it for yeah,
Yeah, I'm like
doesn't.
it is not worth it for me to feel less of a, you know, I can't imagine my body's producing that much estrogen with,
Still.
yeah, with, no ovaries, you know.
Yeah, that's where you say, and where we all say, listen, we're not dispensing any kind of medical advice here. We're not
No,
saying what
no,
you should do,
you got
but
to know your
have
own.
to. You
Yeah,
have to be your own advocate. You have to know your body. You have to
right,
know, there's so many options out there now. You just have to open your mouth and ask. You don't have to take what one doctor says and run with it
right.
unless you're in alignment with that course of action. If you're not in alignment with it, then you need to keep advocating for yourself, keep searching, keep doing your research, keep asking questions.
Right.
Ask questions and you will find the right answer. You knock on if you keep knocking on different doors, finally the right door will open for you. So
Yeah.
don't
Well,
just
and a lot of
give
stuff,
up.
I mean, it's diet. After my first chemo treatment, I lost all taste for meat or alcohol
Hmm.
after one. And then I only eat fish. I don't eat any beef, chicken, or pork.
Hmm.
And I don't drink alcohol anymore
Hmm.
since then. So I do things as much as I can to be healthier
Right.
than ever. But you have to be your own advocate. The other
Absolutely.
part, that now that I've already had breast cancer, you have to you get tested every 6 months.
Hmm.
You get I have a mammogram or MRI every 6 months.
Yeah.
And this past August, I had to have both because they thought they saw something in on my mammogram earlier in the year, so they were doing both this time, and I ended up having to have two biopsies, which I hard lesson learned. Don't have anything big planned during when you might be having
Biopsy.
another test. Well, the biopsies aren't planned. Your regular scans are planned. The biopsies is just what might happen.
Yeah.
I don't have cancer again, but the biopsies were unnerving, and it just you get I it's it's called scan anxiety. It's
Mm.
a kind like when those next round of scans comes up, it's like I'm learning that I need to just block off 2 weeks, that I'm not doing anything before or after that, so I can.
Just so you can mentally prepare yourself and kind of
Right, right,
relax
and take
until
it
you
in
get the
because
result.
you are going to relive a little bit of the trauma of, you can't just skate through breast cancer,
Mm.
even, you know and I even doesn't matter how small it is or how large it is, you will always that's always going to be that little fear that can creep up again to say, oh, could it happen again?
And I did a show earlier this month on thermography and how thermography is really an early detection tool that you can
Yeah,
use um, in looking at the development of vascular flow, inflammation, what's actually happening in the tissue. And
right.
so it doesn't detect structure, it won't detect a lump, but it will detect a cluster of blood cells and blood vessels that are feeding into something. And
Right.
so you can get tested even before a lump shows up. You can do a thermography scan. And the other
There are
really
a lot of
important,
options.
yeah, and the other really important one too is to understand how your estrogen is metabolizing, understanding how that estrogen is working in your body, and doing a Dutch test. Dutch test helps you understand what's happening with your hormone levels, so that you can make more more informed choices about your body, more
Right.
informed choices about the course of action that you need to take. Like you decided not to continue with that hormone
Inhibitor.
inhibitor. Thank you. Uh,
Yep.
a hormone inhibiting drug because it inhibits all hormones. It doesn't regulate anything. It doesn't help.
No, it
It
just
just
shuts you
stops. It
down.
shuts you down, and that may not be the best course of action for you. So, understanding how your hormones metabolize will help you understand what supplements and what other things that are out there instead of a hormone inhibitor that you can use to help you metabolize your hormones the right way
Right.
instead of a way that is producing estrogen that's feeding into these cancer cells. So, so where are you now in your journey?
I 2 years out. So the goal is you want to get to that 5 year mark with
Hmm.
being cancer free. So every 6 months, I had to slow down. One thing I am learning is COVID happened. So right
Yes.
as I was trying to get back into things, COVID happened. So I slowed down and I wasn't working as much, but now as I've started doing some things, um, I'm realizing my body's just not back where it was.
Yeah.
I would, it's a little frustrating. There's some brain fog and fatigue that could be residual from the chemo.
Hmm.
Um, I will have some numbness in my hands and feet, probably forever. If not, it takes a long time for those nerve endings to come back.
And is that from the radiation treatment? Is that
That
from
is from the
chemo?
chemo.
From
Yeah,
chemo? Hmm.
that was from chemo. They also do. They're starting to do some things with ice baths
Hmm.
that if you like while you're going through chemo to put your ice bath your hands and your feet so that it
Really?
doesn't. Yeah, I was reminded this week because I have to I check in with a counselor every once in a while because you can still get depressed and you can still get frustrated with things. So, but she reminded me that medicine is a practice, not a science.
It's not exact. It's not
Yeah,
exact.
they learn as they go, and over
Hmm.
time they've learned better things. So, what was stellar medical tech at 20 years ago is obsolete now. Don't
Yeah.
just because your grandmother did it one way does not mean that that's the current
Well, that's the only
thought.
only treatment available. Um,
Right.
and and if you are faced with a diagnosis, again, do your research, talk to people who've been through it, talk to people who've done different things, and find something that aligns with you, that allows you to feel really um, secure in the course of action that you're taking, because
Right.
it's your body, and it's up to you to be the best defender of that body and love that body, as much as possible. Sometimes doctors can get as well. They see it so much
Right.
that it's
They're
some of the
desensitized.
humanity, right? Some of the humanity, they're desensitized, and some of the humanity is taken out of what you're going through. And so they're just recommending a course of action. Oh, I've seen this already like 100 times. So this is what we're going to do. Bam, 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 without
Right.
recognizing that, wait, there's a person on the other side of this that is trying to process what you're saying. And, you might say, oh, it's stage 4, so we have to act right now. But wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. You know,
Right.
I need to understand what's going on here. I need to know, is this my only option? I know I don't have a lot of time to make a decision, but take a moment, take a beat, and just do some really quick research on what other options there are available, because they may recommend a path for you that, in hindsight, looking back at it, you think, oh my God, why did I do that to myself when I should have just taken a day to really do some more research and really be comfortable with this decision instead of being pushed into this decision.
Well,
So,
and
go ahead.
I know people that have had to have a double mastectomy and opted for no reconstruction. I know
Mm-hmm.
people that went without chemo and just did surgery and are doing well now.
Everybody's different, and
Everybody's
everybody's
different,
treatment is different. Just because
right?
they say mastectomy, reconstructive surgery, bam, 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 no problem. You know what? It's not always, they could say that and it sounds great and it sounds simple, but it's still
Right.
surgery and it's still cutting into your body and anything can happen. So you have to make sure that you are secure in the decision that you're making for your own body, because it's up to us ladies, to love our
Yes.
bodies enough to make the right decision for us and to be able to live with that decision for the rest of your life.
Right.
So,
And I just
and
add,
hopefully it'll be a long life.
yes. And I just add, give yourself lots of grace and lots of room to heal. And, you don't
Lots of
need to
love.
lots of love. And you don't have to, pick up other people's stories
Mm-hmm.
about what happened to them.
Oh, I love that.
You know how, your body works and what's felt right and what's felt wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But be your own advocate, and if you need somebody else in the room, get somebody else in the room.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Jenn. That's
Thank
great
you.
advice. And are you on that journey to loving yourself? Because you did the right thing for yourself
Right.
and you made the decisions for yourself. So you loved yourself enough to make the right decisions, even through a very tough diagnosis and hearing. Because when people hear the word cancer, they fear comes to them. Most people, fear will come to them, and then they start spiraling.
Yeah.
So it's about
You go
taking
into
that
the
moment.
what if rabbit hole, and
Yes.
you
And
can't.
one thing I will say is be careful who you talk to when you get a diagnosis, because you don't want people to dogpile on that what if. And you don't
Right.
want to also take in everybody's opinion of what you should do, because this is a very personal decision that you have to make. Only get solicited advice, not unsolicited advice.
Yes. Absolutely.
All right, get solicited advice from people you trust. So, because everybody, like you said, has a story and they'll want you to buy into their story. So, thank you so much, Jenn,
Thank
for
you.
sharing your courageous journey with us. And we wish you complete healing and lots of love in your journey to that 5-year mark where you will be declared cancer free.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you so much for
That's the
sharing.
goal.
Yes. All right. And she and I are going to do some business together. So you know,
Sounds good.
yeah. All right. So thank you all so much. I'm just going to say bye, Jenn. Mwah. Thank you.
Bye.
Don't go anywhere. So I'm popping back in because that was our interview for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I thank you so much for joining. So just really quickly, a couple things I want to recap. First of all, we talked about when you feel something, if you feel a lump, if you feel anything unusual, go to your primary care physician, have them check it out because they're going to send you there anyway. So it'll save you tons of time if you go to your primary care physician first and then get a prescription to go get a mammogram, ultrasound, MRI, biopsy, all those other things that they're going to do for you. Also, take someone with you. Take someone with you because, and now with COVID, it might be a little challenging. So you have to call in advance and find out if someone can come in with you because they're going to give you a lot of information. They're going to uh, share a lot of stuff with you, and you may not be able to absorb it all. If you can't take someone in with you, ask if you can have someone on the phone with you. If you can have someone on speakerphone that can also hear that information coming from the doctors to you. So that's also important. And then, of course, as you choose your course of action, do that wisely, do that with research, make sure that you're making the right decision for you and your body, and do a lot of self-care. The guilt is one thing that you're going to have to let go of. You can't be guilty about having to rest. You can't be guilty about missing out on certain things, that you can't go everywhere and do everything for everybody like you did before. Jenn talked about right after surgery, she felt better. Right after doing the chemo, she started feeling like herself again, because the cancer was really draining her, and she wasn't feeling herself. So you might not be feeling right. You might not be feeling all together. So check that out. And then with your self care, of course, give yourself a lot of grace. And when people ask what they can do for you, um, you know, they might ask over and over and over again, but be patient too with that, because people care and they want to help and they just don't know how to help. Um, I hope this brought value to you. I hope that you were able to learn a few things. So if you are a caregiver of someone, or you're going through it yourself, I hope that some of the things that Jenn shared was able to be helpful to you. Don't forget, leave a comment if you did enjoy the show. If you did find use and value in it, leave a comment below. Let us know. We will continue to respond to your comments. And if you'd be so kind as to join the group. So go ahead and go to facebook.com/groups/LMBLM, Love My Body, Love Myself. And one thing I did not share, is that if you would like to sponsor one of these shows, or the series of shows, or all of the shows, if you'd like to help us cover the cost of these broadcasts, plus there are some other things that we want to do with the show. We want to be able to do an event coming up. We want to share a lot more, but we need more resources. So if you would like to sponsor, please email us, support@aliciacouri.com, support@aliciacouri.com, if you would like to sponsor this show that is geared towards helping women really understand and love the bodies that they're in, and be able to practice and have self-love. Because when you're able to do that, when you're able to love the body that you're in and love yourself, so many more things can happen, because you are now serving and giving from a full cup instead of from a depleted, empty cup. And you can love others so much more richly, and enjoy life to the fullest. So that is the mission. That's the goal, to help women in transition, women of all ages, really learn how to love and accept themselves and love the body that they're in. So with that said, I'm just going to one more time let you know that this show was sponsored by Alicia Couri Inc. and produced by Red Carpet CEO. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, please go over to alicia360.com, and you can connect with me on all social media platforms that I am on. You can DM me, slide into my DMs, tell me that you enjoyed the show, share your thoughts with me. I will respond to you that way. And please go over to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/C/Alicia Couri, and subscribe so we can get this and much more content out there to the world, so that people can really learn more. We can inform people more about the choices that they have to be their best advocate for themselves, for their health, for their bodies. So that is it for now. And until next time, I'm going to have someone, because October wasn't just Breast Cancer Awareness Month. October is also Domestic Abuse Month. And since I ran out of month, I'm going to have our next guest is going to talk about domestic violence and domestic abuse. And that would be next week's show with Megan Fenyo. So please come on back and join us. And we're going to be talking about how to be enough. I am enough. And I'm super excited to have you come to that show. One more thing I did have here in my notes is if you're concerned at all about your hormone levels and what your hormones are doing, this is a resource. Go to DutchTest.com. It's a urine metabolite test that you can take that tells you what your hormones are doing at all different times of the day and night, and it will help you to regulate your hormone levels. Because from what I've understood is that when you're not metabolizing your estrogen properly, it can feed those bad cells. So we don't want to feed those bad cells. We want to starve those cells, and we don't want to give them any opportunity to grow. So go on back through this month. We did some really powerful, impactful shows on breast cancer awareness and women's health. So check those out. And thank you so much for the love. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you. Give us a thumbs up. I appreciate it. And I will see you next time. This Saturday, we have a Small Business Saturday shout out. We have some amazing guests coming up this Saturday. So check that out. And I will see you next time, next Tuesday on Love My Body, Love Myself. So have the best week, the rest of this week. And I'll see you then. Mwah, mwah, mwah.